I developed this particular quick reading, well, not necessarily quick, but very simple reading, following a dream I had some years ago. And I use it occasionally. You know, when you get that dream that comes along and sort of niggles at you all day, and you know that there's something in it that you'd like to unravel, but the meaning isn't immediately clear to you. Sometimes dreams are just so mysterious anyway, aren't they? But sometimes you can get a gist of what they mean, but other times, as I say, they niggle at you. There's something there and you really want to unravel it. So this is what I'm going to show here. I'll explain a bit more in a moment, but I want to just say something about the difference between the meaning of a dream and the message. And of course they're intertwined, but I think sometimes we get muddled when we're looking at a dream as a whole, because we're kind of muddling in the meaning and the message, and sometimes it can help to separate them for a moment before looking at the whole picture again at the end. So when I'm talking about the meaning, I'm looking at the themes that are contained within the dream, the symbology that there is there. And sometimes the tarot is a really good way of opening that up for us. And then when I'm looking at the message of the dream, I'm looking at what that symbology or what the themes of that dream are pointing towards, what might be the specific message that's coming through there. Are we going to really be able to focus in on what that dream is saying to us? And then finally, looking at advice as that we can draw from what we know so far, and that's pretty self-explanatory. So let's begin. So first, giving them a jolly good shuffle before we begin. And what I like to do before I begin is to hold the cards in my hand, usually up to my heart area, and concentrate on the purpose of the reading. So I might do that for a few moments. I also sometimes call on Haru. I have a video covering that, the Angel of the Tarot, somewhere in my list somewhere. But just hold on and focus on the question. For this dream reading spread, I keep it very simple, and so what I'm going to do is just cut the cards into 3 piles, whichever way you wish to do that. I'm a bit slippy slidey on this surface, but there we are. So I'm going to be going from left to right. So that might be the opposite as you're looking at it. I hope this isn't going to be too confusing. So my first pile is the meaning of the dream. My second pile, so that's the middle, is the message. And the third is advice. Now I know that that might seem a little odd. One would really lump together the meaning and the message, but this is where I don't want to put those two things together, because I do feel that dreams are very much like tarot readings, and they have layers, and so it's sometimes we can just work with the surface layer, sometimes we want to go a little deeper. And I think by separating rather out the meaning and the message, I think we can go a little deeper. So this is the first method that I use most of all. So I would take a card from that pile, put it there. So that is the meaning of the dream. A card from that pile, that is the message. And from this pile, that's the advice card. So I'm just going to move those piles out of the way so that we can, but keep your piles because you may want to use them later. If you're going to use a clarifier for any of these cards, then make sure you take the clarifier, a clarifying card that is, if you want a little bit more information, you want to open up that card a little bit more. Take a card from that pile that the card came from. So we have some quite heavy hitters here for this dream reading. We have the Emperor in the meaning pile. So this is about control. It's about knowledge, it's about wisdom, it's about mastery. The Emperor has huge masculine energy attached to it. And I did note that on taking the card, it was upside down. And so I'm looking at the more negative connotations that come with power, come with control, that come often with that masculine energy. And we might want to be looking at that when we're looking at the meaning of the dream, since the Emperor was actually reversed. I'm not going to go into a great deal about the meanings of the cards and whatnot. This is purely to show the kind of reading that we're doing. So I'll pop him back in his correct position. So in the meaning pile, we have here the Lovers. I also noted that that was also reversed, I think, when we pulled it. But it's a lovely one, especially when we have this huge energy going on here, that we see a more of a polarity for the meaning, for the message rather. It's a message about polarity, so perhaps it's a message about equalizing. There's something too heavy in this in the dream that was portrayed in the dream, and we see here the message is about equalizing, polarizing, getting that balance restored in a way. So then we would move on to the advice. And here we have a very feminine archetype here, the Queen of Wands. And it would seem to be telling us that the advice is to honor that feminine principle, and to also, but not to lose the fire. The Emperor is quite a fiery character, isn't he? He has that determination and that power, which also the Queen of Wands has as well. So we're looking at bringing in some balance, but not forgetting our own fire, our own passion, and our own power. Perhaps to promote this element that exists within us. Also, of course, we can be looking at what these people might represent in our lives and in the dream itself. So the Emperor could possibly represent a person in the dream. This seems to represent more of a principle, but again, it can represent a relationship. So it could be talking about the dominance of the masculine within a relationship and the need for the feminine to step forward, to be honoured within ourselves. So that could be what those cards are saying. Now, as I said, if you wish to pull clarifiers, again, I'm not going to go into meanings here at all, but this is the pile from the Emperor. So if you want to clarify, you take a card from there to open up that reading a little bit, and this does seem to pertain quite well. We've got a lot of masculine energy here. Maybe we're looking at an ego situation here. So pulling a clarifying card for the message. Let's see what we have. Oh, look, oh, this is wonderful. We have, I'm getting carried away here. I always do with tarot. What we have here is, how can I put that? Is that better? Again, we have a mirroring of these two. These are more cosmic forces, spiritual forces, but here we see them represented in a very stable way in the meaning. So the meaning is perhaps to be going forward, taking us forward, to bring stability, to bring those opposites together. And from the pile for the advice, we have a page. So we have the Page of Cups. Again, this is a more light-hearted character. So we would be looking at what can this character convey. What advice does this character have, perhaps for this person, or within the broader scope of the reading? And we'd be putting that together as a whole, because we don't want to be reading the cards too separately. They are, of course, a whole picture. The other method that I sometimes use is to pull 3 cards for each position, so that you have a total of 9 cards. which can kind of broaden the reading a little bit, but this can also be achieved by pulling clarifiers when you feel you need to. And I think with some dreams, it's important to really be as specific as possible, which is why I prefer to, in the first instance, just pull one card per pile and then use clarifiers. And just as a little end note, while I was doing this, I had the feeling that this reading was meant for somebody. If that's you, leave me a comment and I will get back to you. Blessings to you all.